Testing 1, 2, 3.
All right, at 6:04, we'll start the June meeting of the Economic Development Corporation. Roll call. Everybody is here except for Tyson, who may come in late, and Daryl is not here. Tippy. Item 2, work session reports. 1, use of EDC property to create a food truck destination.
Yeah, we've had a lot of interest from food trucks that's coming into the city and is wanting to have a home ground per se, and they're obviously they got Kennedale in mind. We have some EDC property that's off of Link Street and Kennedale Parkway. I do have a food truck that's wanting to go and be on that property. So the idea is to put more involvement and see if there may be more food trucks that have an interest in a food truck court per se. So in other words, we can, the EDC can come in and make a small investment onto that EDC property that could be for electrical, sewer, water, the whole concept of the food court. And obviously we can come in at I believe at a minimum investment. And I just want to throw out probably 75,000 on I think that's a pretty conservative number. We already have water, sewer, and electrical is already there. It's just actually getting those that infrastructure to where it needs to go. With that, we turn around and obviously we can lease out those properties to food trucks. What the actual that monthly charge will be, I'd just be speculating if I told you what the income could be. But obviously I feel confident that it will get our return back for that type of investment. The traffic count, the population of dealing with the Southeast Connector is booming in that area. And I think it'll be a very great location for a food truck to come in and supply a chain of food. It's just an idea that's been floating around. We've had interest in the past for last year of doing a food court. One of those locations has been at the corner of Bowman Springs and the Parkway. I don't feel that necessarily fits a lot of what the food trucks are looking for. So I've spoken with several food trucks and I've shown that property to them to see what they're interested in. Their interest is not really there. It's mainly for visibility concepts of it because it's long and skinny. So, you know, just say we had 4 trucks, that 4th truck may be a half a block that's not getting the visibility what the others are. The location that I'm talking about on Link Street, the visibility is there all the way around the whole property. So I think it'll be an area that we can have great access to. We can put parking, all the utilities that we need, the location has, including for the parking. I'm just going to do it at the work session, see what you guys feel or think about that idea of being able to move forward and see what we can make happen.
For $75,000.
Well, don't quote me on that.
No, but I'm just saying,
Okay.
if that is the investment, what are we putting in for 75,000?
Well, it will be the connections to the water tab, sewer tab, and electrical. The biggest expense is going to be electrical. That's where the majority of the money will come from. Some of it we'll be able to do in-house as far as water, the connection with water and sewer. That could be an in-house process. The electrical is where the expense will come in. And the idea, you know, for a visual of it, say like an RV park, you know, how they come in and they park. So each one of those stations have electrical to that.
Yeah.
So it will be that same concept. So if we come in and put 6 lots, then obviously that's 6 connections that we would need, and that electrical.
And what would be the monthly rent on those slots?
I wish I could give you an answer for that.
Because usually an RV, they're usually anywhere from $650 and up per month.
It would be minimum that.
Yeah, I'm probably closer to 1,200.
1,200 now?
Because I believe that you'd have to check and you can just ask around these other food trucks and see what they're paying.
Okay,
But I bet you they're paying close to that to be able to park in the locations they're at right now. There's a couple of them on the highway right now. Sometimes there's up to 3. Some might be cheaper than others,
yeah, some are
but
cheaper.
of course, we'd have to control this area with electricity, the water, and the sanitation. Because we've got to be able to keep the trash from piling up.
Mhm. Yeah, there's going to be an expense, but to indicate, to come in and just say it's 75,000, that I don't want to say it's a conservative number, but I think it's a realistic number that we can come in and put a small investment, if anything, for 2 trucks. And if that seems to be going well and we have more interest, obviously we can continue to build on that property for that. It's a 2-acre tract. We don't have to use the whole 2 acres. We can narrow it to 1 acre and still have plenty of room for parking, whatever we're looking at wanting to move forward in the future with.
And you don't think you'll get any problems with the 2 restaurants next door?
Well, once again, I think there's,
Changed, put a criteria about what they can sell.
well, yeah, we'll be able to do that. I mean, obviously it's EDC property. We're in control of it. It's not just like anybody can come in. It's EDC property. We control what we believe is going to come in and do that. It's not like we're selling the property. This is a lease. So that concept we control. They don't control that. Obviously, we don't want to come in and put 5 different barbecue restaurant, trucks next to each other. That's just not very good management on that side. But I think the possibilities are there.
Mr. City Manager, I can't speak for everybody else, but I would encourage you to move forward with that. And also, I think we've had some conversations, previously too about maybe encouraging them to try and stick around and open up more permanently. Would that be part of the plan as well?
Absolutely. And obviously, a future plan or vision in my aspect of it, that is a perfect location. Some restaurants to come in and build a brick and mortar is they're hesitant on it. One, because the construction that's taking place. The other concept is that their demographics they're looking at for a sit down restaurant is not matching what their expectation is. So that's the other challenge whenever we start talking about a restaurant. Fast food, yes, their criteria is a little bit lower. But if you're wanting a sit down restaurant, we're not there yet. The demographics are not there. We would need a hotel or even a couple of hotels to get that type of restaurant. And I think this food truck it's a very popular concept of a court. You have a variety, you have a selection that, and as most know, you can have one that's kind of an oddball, and that's the one that generates a lot of activity. And once you start that, I think it could build into other destinations that would want to come and be a part of it.
I think it's a great start, great starting point, and I would absolutely encourage you to move forward with that.
Awesome.
Second. Where is this located? Link Street and what?
Kennedale Parkway. It's the property is right next to the Burger King. You have Apache Salvage, then you have Oakcrest, then the next street is Link, and it's that 2 acre lot between those 2 roads.
There's currently nothing but grass.
That's correct. And currently there's not an approach on Kennedale Parkway, but we do have approaches on any of the other from Oakcrest or Link to make that approach.
And that would be fine. That'd save you arguing with TxDOT.
That's correct. And same thing for water, sewer, any of it. It's surrounded by that utilities.
One last question, Daryl, and that is, these food trucks, will they be like Kennedale citizens or headquartered out of Kennedale? How would the sales tax? And
Well,
There.
it's the point of sale, so it's the location where the sale takes place.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of them, our governor changing that as of yet, and I know it was on, it's still point of sale. So the tax base should be here for that. We had a barbecue, truck come in, it's called 225 Barbecue. And they actually have a interest in coming in and building a restaurant. But obviously he also has a food truck. He has his food truck and the restaurant is in the downtown Arlington area. And I don't want to say he's indicated like they're kind of pushing him out, not wanting a food truck and his restaurant as a whole. So he's looking for a home. He lives in this area and he's wanting to invest in this area. Obviously, we got other EDC properties and other properties that are for sale in Canada. And the encouragement is for all of it. We want him to be a home for him. Doesn't matter if it's a food truck, if he wants to come in and build a restaurant, we're open to both. And so is that property. So that hadn't been left out either. But I just feel the food truck court has some strong possibilities for that area. Particularly at this point, all the Southeast Connector project dealing with 820, the infrastructure, everything is already there and it's a minimum investment. It's doing nothing for us now. It's just sitting there.
Well, one last thing, and that is, we're only interested in point of sale, sales tax, because I know sales tax also is paid quarterly or annually. And it's based on headquarter, where you're headquartered at as well. Because
That's correct. It depends on your monthly income.
yeah,
Obviously, the more money you make, you're going to pay monthly.
Yeah.
And yes, and the reason why I mentioned this guy's in Arlington, because he has a restaurant there.
Okay.
Some of these trucks do not have a home base. And I'll have to check on our UDC. Sometimes we require them to have a home base. Doesn't mean we don't get the sales tax or anything like that, but they have to have a place to park their trailer. And there's a lot of restrictions on even other cities that require them to have some type of hookup. For instance, like for this, we would want them to leave their trailer there. That would be the intent, to have electric and the water and sewer. Is that, hey, this is your home, stay here. As of right now, if you look at the ones on the parkway, they come in at certain time, then they leave. And most of that is because, they're on tanks. They only have so much capacity for water or groundwater or wastewater.
The area secure around there, people would want to leave a food truck there. I don't know that area very well, but throughout the highway right up near Forest Hill,
That'd probably be part of your infrastructure setup.
security in there might be an issue looking around the areas.
Personally, I don't think it matters where you go. The security is always going to be a priority. As far as I look at it, I'm not going to go and build a compound around it to secure it. But they also have their own capabilities of securing their property. They'll have police and public safety services just like anybody else would, if it's McDonald's or Burger King or whoever.
Any more discussions on the food court? And since we're basically 6 months out, we need to discuss the budget for the hometown Christmas event. We got to stay ahead of it. I knew we were coming up in July about this.
Yes, sir. And we're going to have our first meeting Thursday to go over the concept of what we're anticipating for November the 25th, which is the Saturday after Thanksgiving. We're looking to, last year, we pretty much stretched out the month of December. So we had something every Saturday of that month. And we're still going to probably stick with that concept, but it's not going to be to the degree we did last year. Last year, we also had something Saturday and Sunday. This year, we're going to take it to just a Saturday. So Saturday will be filled with local music, our own local talent, just like we did last time. We're just going to move that from the Sunday to the Saturday. And not, obviously, we'll still have our Christmas tree lighting with the idea that we can have the schools be involved in it this year. I think there's some differences with the school district. Hopefully it might be a little bit different this year as we're moving forward. Last year, the city had purchased and installed lights within the town center plaza. This year, we're still going to utilize the lights. And all the lights that we purchased last year, we're going to still use within the town center, particularly start dealing with more of the buildings itself. This year, the company that we purchased the lights and some of the photo structures, they also do the install and sell the lights as well. I'm looking at doing that this year. I have not got a true quote as of yet. Right now, the rough numbers are anywhere from 15 to 20,000. That's for the lights. They're multicolor where they change. So if we want red, green, it doesn't matter what it is, and it can be synchronized to music. Whatever we're wanting to entail what that is. And it's the same thing for them to come in and put the Christmas tree up where it's at. So it's a little bit different from what we did last time. Last year, it took us roughly about 2 weeks, constant work to come in and put all that up. And this year, I don't see that being any different. We're adding more lights, we're adding more activities, we're adding more just a visual hometown feel to it. And I don't see that getting any better. With this price, that's 15 to 20,000. That's also purchasing of the lights itself. So after 3 years, the lights are ours. So after that third year, the fourth year will be even cheaper. And part of the reason why I want to do that, and I'll give you an example, the lights that we had last year are great. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's one solid color. It's just one color. The color, what we're going to now, I can't remember the term. It's a 3-letter acronym. They're all LED, but it's a BGR. Yeah, so it's multicolor. I mean, it changes. You can put a scheme to it. You can put it to music. You can. There's all other activities you can go with it, and that's a direction I would like to go with it. I think it'll be more a visual and very more approachable of what the holiday season's about. And, another item that I'm looking at purchasing as well is a nativity scene for the park itself. Last year, the funding just wasn't there for us to do so. If we go this route where we can do a lease to own with this company, I think it also gives me the opportunity to buy this nativity scene, which is, in my opinion, very well needed. And it goes along with the concept of what the reason for us being here. With that also, we still have funding from this current year that's sitting in the EDC for the Christmas event itself. So it's not necessarily going to be new money. However, come October, we'll start a new budget. That budget will be less than what it is currently. I want to say we roughly still have about 40,000 sitting in the account for the hometown Christmas. Next year, obviously, we can make it quite a bit less. Obviously, last year we had a very large expense, mainly dealing with the Christmas tree. That expense is already done and taken care of. The idea was we'll move forward with a $50,000 budget for the hometown Christmas. And even at this point, I don't think that's actually even needed. If we are able to go through this lease to own, even if it's at the max of 20,000, we already have a 30,000 budget to deal with other activities. That the idea is the whole event is free to our community. There's no expense anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's hot chocolate, cookies, whatever we're wanting to do, there's no cost to our citizens. I've also had a meeting with Waste Connections. They're wanting to partner with us as well. They have a lot of vendors, things that come in and do this same thing. And they're willing to come in and be a part of it. They have their own marketing trailers and events as a whole, and they're wanting to come be a part of it. They also have food vendors, beverage vendors that are also willing to come in, and it's at no cost. So if we wanted a taco truck to come in and just say feed 1,500 people, Waste Connections, as indicated, they will make that purchase without any need of the city's funding. It doesn't matter if it's a food truck or if we're talking about some other type of drink, hot chocolate, whatever it might be. So we got a good connection with Waste Connections. They're wanting to be involved, and obviously at this point we want them to be involved. That they're bringing some value to the city of Kennedale, and more importantly to our citizens that need it as well. I guess at one point, I guess if I can get some direction from you guys, that 40,000 that we have sitting in the account, the idea was not to necessarily be for this budget. That budget we had already started. This is, I don't want to say a mistake, but the mistake of how it was budgeted between 22 or 21-22 budget and the 22-23 budget, it overlapped. So we made a purchase of the tree on the last year's budget. As we was moving forward, the additional funding was on this current budget. So that's the reason why we're showing the 40,000 in this current budget. It's not an overspend. It's just the idea was for it to be on the other budget, but it's on the current one. And I wanted to make sure y'all understood that concept, where that money's coming from. It is budgeted, but it was not necessarily budgeted for this budget. If that makes any sense. Okay. And obviously, I like to be able to move forward and be able to at least entertain the idea of moving forward with the, particularly with the lights and going through a lease purchase with them.
I would propose that you proceed as planned, and if there's any way to do the nativity set as well, go for it.
Awesome.
Is the nativity the only option that you're thinking about? Are there any other options like Charlie Brown, Snoopy, Mickey Mouse, or?
They are. And those items, and maybe even the nativity scene that we can put on this lease to own, this same company is the one that produces all of it. To give you an example, they do Mansfield, they do Weatherford, probably 90% of the northern cities of Tarrant County. They got what's called a buy board, so they're already state contracted pricing. So I don't have to go out for bids. I don't have to do any of that. It's all preset. So if there's say an item that we want to bring here, we can put that photo op or whatever it may be on there as well.
I'd like to move to second that motion.
We're still in a work session right now too. We're just giving them inputs.
Yeah, yes, sir.
We're just giving them inputs for right now, and it feels good. Nobody has any problems with everything. Sounds like keep going forward.
Quick question. So, to your point, so we're discussing alternatives to a nativity scene. Is that what your question was specifically? And then I guess there's been a lot of, I think, Daryl, to your point earlier, a lot of theft when it comes to nativity scenes and people stealing things. Is that what we're referencing? Is a nativity scene for the town Christmas and maybe looking at alternatives?
I'm not looking for any alternatives. It was a point of reference, what I would like to bring in and put in our town center for our hometown Christmas. I don't think it matters where we go with any, when you start talking about criminal activities, it doesn't matter where you're at. Obviously, you have to put your effort in protecting whatever we put out. And that concept, I think, will be okay. But there's never a proof, to say something's not going to happen. As far as on the nativity scene, legally, there's no constitutionally, we can do that. At the city government decides to go that direction.
I'd be in favor of going with the nativity scene.
And you're gonna go through that company and get some bids and see what everything runs.
Yes, sir.
That will be presented to us on the budget.
Yes, that's correct. I was hoping to have those numbers today. The gentleman that's creating the quote has been sick. He's an elderly man and he just physically wasn't able to get it completed.
Well, I don't think we'll be waiting till the last minute anyway. We're getting a good start on it.
Oh, absolutely. The idea is exactly that. We learned a lot from last year, just the programming itself. So obviously that's the reason why we're getting it started as early, where I'm actually even a month behind. So there's a lot of things we're cleaning up and trying to make it a little bit more solid across the board. Some of the other items that's referencing with the budget, we had some quotes come in for like an ice skating ring, which we're not going to be able to afford, by the way. One of them was a little over 100,000. That was just starting price. Then we had another one that's a little bit smaller. It's 10,000, but that was only for 4 hours. So that's really not an option. I don't think that's a good start of our money. But we are looking for maybe a tube slide that's coming down like an ice mountain type slide. So we'll have some type of activity that's that, with the idea that it'll draw a little bit more of our kids and have activities that are here for them to come and be a part of, more than just come and see a Christmas tree lighting. And we'll have a lot better idea of exactly what those items are as our next meeting comes around, particularly with the price tag with it.
All right. Item B, discussion or request for clarification on items listed on the agenda. Is there any need for anybody have discussions or requests on for clarification on anything on the agenda? Okay. Item 3, regular session, reports and announcements. Updates from the members of the Kennedale Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors. Updates from the city manager.
I think for the most part, we just had that discussion. We do have John Horton with the finance department, our finance director, which some of the questions that some of the board has had, he is here to be able to answer that, or any other questions you may have. But once we get to that, he is here. Those
So
were your requests.
we have listed a Dollar General lease contract. And then is there anything that we got seeking the bid for trimming in the town trees in the town center plaza?
Yeah, so we've had some complaints in reference to our trees, either having dead branches or.
These are the ones that the state planted for us.
No, it's actually just some of them out here, mainly around the school, or not the school, the playground area. About a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, we had Horton Tree Service come in and just take a tree out. It split, so it was going everywhere. So we have some other limbs and trees that truly need to be trimmed, or just come in and get some work done to it. So we're wanting to do that. The other part of it is also, as when this company comes in, if I have a branch that honestly doesn't need a light on it, I want to get rid of it. So if we can trim it to where it needs to be trimmed and we're not having lights going everywhere, and it's formulated correctly, it's going to look proper as well. So there are some other backgrounds to it, but the main thing is get these branches that are dead When the wind's blowing or whatever, we don't have any kids underneath it that may have the opportunity to get hurt. So the trimming of that, is imperative. The Dollar General lease, we have made a agreement with Dollar General for a 1-year lease. Generally, we do it by the 5-year increments. We did not do that with this. The idea is that we'll give them a 1-year lease with the option of purchasing the property next to them to build a new building. If not, the idea is if they don't do that, they have to remodel where they're at. So they'll have to close and remodel that building. So that to a certain extent on the city side, it's a win-win. Either you have 1 year to start the process of a new building, or after that 1-year lease, you're going to have to close down and remodel the building you're currently in, or obviously you move out.
To be clear, so that's just a handshake agreement, or is that in
That's a written agreement.
that one of the other is the third option, meaning they leave also in writing?
That part is not in the writing. The aspect is that we will not renew. We will not renew the contract.
Have they resolved the trash issue?
The day of the Juneteenth parade, they were out there cleaning it up. Part of their issue that they've indicated they hadn't had any store manager, which ultimately for that Saturday, whatever in a sense that made them go out and start cleaning it. Every time we had communications with the store, I don't want to say they brushed us off, but they pretty much brushed us off. And so when the citation book came out, they did not want that. So I was able to get a hold of the corporate office that the one was dealing with the lease, and he was able to make that employee go out and take care of it. I think part of the problem internally for Dollar General, they literally just have not had any employees, and more importantly, didn't have a manager to be able to go out and manage it.
And switching gears really quickly, if they do vacate, I guess there's some issues with the building.
A lot.
So do we have a plan to get it up to, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Code.
Where it would be attractive to another would-be business?
Yeah, obviously, if they decide to vacate, we'll have to go in and remodel it. And just for it to be presentable, and it needs it. I believe this is one way that, it's a win-win for the city. They can come in and build a new brick and mortar, and they're still here in the town center, or they remodel what they currently have. If not, we can go in and remodel to get it to standard where it needs to be. There's a lot to it. I mean, some of it, all of it, as far as safety goes, those codes are met. There's not an issue with safety. It's just the facade of it. It needs help. And so basically within the year, I would say in a couple of years, we should have something that's the least presentable.
So I want to go back to a previous conversation that you had with the tenant next door, or the store next door that had said that the resale shop that said that they were having issues and they wanted to renegotiate their rent. So let's assume in 12 months that Dollar General decides we want to do something else. When does the lease end with the other large tenant in that building? Because we can renovate it, don't get me wrong, but that doesn't fix the building. So what are our other options? I just want to try to look at that, because Dollar General, if you look at surrounding areas, Dollar Tree and Dollar General are building self-standing stores, as you see. So hypothetically, let's assume they don't do either. What are our options with the other portion of that building if we just decide the building's in disrepair? What do we do?
We do have several options. The electric company that's there, they honestly, they wouldn't mind having the whole building. So the concept, if we do lose them, in a sense, we have someone that would pick up that square footage. For the antique mall, it's the same thing. Antique Mall has decided to sign a new agreement with us as well. So they're going to be moving forward with theirs. The contract is not settled as of yet, but they decided to meet the requirements that was asked of them. But the electric company had the same sentiment. They wouldn't mind taking that side either.
Can we possibly put the antique folks on the same time frame as Dollar General so that we can do both of them at the same time, depending on what Dollar General decides?
I can check and see. That has been talked about as a 1-year lease, but they're also looking at it on the price side of the lease. A 5-year works better for them. We don't have to go that 5 years. The electric company, they renewed last year, which is a 5-year lease.
So just my 2 cents on this would be to tell the folks at the antique mall there that we're not going to raise your rent and push that until the deadline for Dollar General. And then at that time, we can make a decision on both. Dollar General's here. Okay, great. We'll move forward. Does that make sense? So we put them on the same deadline.
Absolutely.
It might cost us a little bit of money in the interim over the next 6 to 8, 12 months. But I think putting them on the same calendar would be much easier for the city to manage.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And we've had that conversation with Craig Hughes, the management company for the town center. And we had one before, and I can't think of the company that was in between the electric and the Dollar General, but they were able to vacate. So that part, the electric company was able to take over. But the idea is to, in a sense, at one point, we stop all of it and either rebuild or decide what we're going to do with the property. Because at one point, we're going to have to make that decision. Even if the electric company says, I want the whole building. Well, at one point, something's got to be done. And obviously, as we move forward, next year is really going to dictate what direction we go. Dollar General decides to move out and build a new one wherever they may choose. And that option has been given to them as well with other EDC properties and other properties that are for sale in it. So all that information been shared with them. I gave them the listings of all of it. They pretty much said thanks, but no thanks. We have our own real estate that does that. But I threw out the idea of the EDC properties, and once again, it's the one where I wanted to do the food truck. That property there has some value to it, and Dollar General had an interest in it as well. But I do think they like the idea of being in the town center for whatever reason is hitting their demographics they're looking for. But I do understand what you're asking.
Then on the back side of the page, lawn service with the town center management group.
Yes, I have.
Is that up for bids again?
It's not. We have not had a bid process probably since November. So what I got with the management company that's doing for Craig Hughes, the town center itself, and I asked them to just take over the whole park. Not the town center plaza, the town center where all the shopping centers, all that grass area, for them to go ahead and do that. They gave me a price of $300 a month for them to come in and do that, which is just pretty much a steal.
Yep.
So I told them, let's get it done. So that's what no doubt. He said, at first he told me 600, and I was kind of tickled about that, to be honest with you. Then he said he was able to negotiate down to 300. I said, where do I sign? So we have that. You can probably see there has been some type of cleanup that's going on, particularly dealing with the landscaping. Some of the bushes and plants and things that has died over the last year and a half, 2 years from the freeze. We're finally starting to get some of that cleaned out and getting some fresh new growth coming in. It's just taking a little bit longer than expected. But now, to a certain extent, we've had the city crews coming in and saying mowing on a Monday, then the town center, their guys are coming out on a Thursday, and there's a difference in heights and just the quality of work all the way around. So I thought it was a good idea to just have that company come in, and it helps the city out in the long run because obviously, for the last month, we've had a lot of rain and we have a lot of grass to cut. So I think it was a benefit all the way around at a minimum price.
That sounds great. Items number 3, updates from or regarding the Chamber of Commerce.
I got Joe Taylor, our president of the chamber here. If he wouldn't mind stepping up and if he can just give us an update of what we've been working on for the last couple of months and
Chamber's been busy. We gotten an organizational kind of a restructuring process that we're well into. Split up into some committees working on the website and membership benefits and a lot of different things. So there is a tremendous updating on the membership levels and benefits. A little bit of a change probably in membership pricing, but benefits adjusted accordingly. Got we're the process of trying to hire a marketing director. Something that we hope to do in partnership with the city, but we're gonna do it. We'll figure out how to afford it. It's gonna be largely
Joe, if you don't mind, can you walk me through what that looks like? Just walk me through what that role looks like. So somebody comes in day one, what does that role look like?
somebody primarily. Go with that person that they can call in. Business going with that also, we'd like to consider upgrading your membership. Step up your benefits when you step up your membership. Primarily that as well as more help with development. We have a play shoot. Annually, we have a play shoot. Golf. And that's been primarily done with board members. We're all volunteers. So primarily been a couple of board members. So those people, we've got Virginia. Field over Virginia, Virginia is day-to-day events coordinator, that's what she manages. Day-to-day administrative duties. No call on business solutions.
It does. Is it possible to get, maybe, because I don't, I apologize, I just don't know. What are the membership levels? And then in turn, what does it get you? And I apologize, that might have been illustrated somewhere. I just didn't see it.
Yeah, and I'm not really very prepared to answer that question. Sure.
I can probably get the cost. A basic membership, is like at $250, then it goes to 500. I think we have 1,000, and then like a platinum level, basically the highest is at 1,500. It may be 2,000. So it is a substantial jump in what the rates were at. The benefits that are going on with them have also increased with that new pricing. To give you an idea of what those are, pretty much all marketing tools. And that's one of the reasons why we're looking for a marketing person to come in and be able to help, one, give the customer what they need, and that's marketing. That's part of what a Chamber of Commerce does. And without this position, it's hard to go out there and fulfill what we're telling them they're going to get without having the means of doing so. So that's the idea of this marketing person to come in and help.
They might get basically we're gonna get. They don't get different things, you know, call very little, that's as it steps up, we'll probably get a banner, holes at the golf tournament. Recognition that anything change, more better recognition on the website. Primarily upgrades and.
So, Mr. Taylor, two questions. First, and maybe most important, how was Wrigley Field?
We're from shade. Sunday afternoon, and so coming back to the furnace. Here, didn't get here this time.
I get it. My wife and I were once there in July, and we both had to go get sweaters too. I get it. And I guess secondly, with the organizational changes that the chamber's undergoing, what do you see the EDC's role as part of those changes?
Partnership, we should be working hand in hand. And, keep in mind that like y'all, we're all volunteers, so that's the idea of hiring somebody else that can really be a lot more active. My own business has many things out of the week, and so it's hard for me to do a lot of things that I would like to. Now I'm still hold on to the idea of potentially sometime in the future partnership on how to go. The chamber's budget is going to be limited on what we pay that person. Partnership where we could gang up on funding, we can obviously more money gets a better how to go.
Quick question. What do you think of the businesses in Kennedale? How many do you think are members of the chamber?
That's kind of dwindled. We took a break for the pandemic. We kind of laid off. We decided we're not even going to invoice for a year there. I would guess. I'm guessing because I don't know. I should have a better feel for that. But I would guess that's right now. It's time for renewals. So there's a letter going out with invoices. So that's, kind of a moving part.
Sure. So we think 100 or so businesses.
And the chamber, the South Tarrant Chamber, little bit of history. Years ago, the Kendall Chamber merged with the South Tarrant Chamber, which was primarily Kendall, Forest Hill, Everett. And now that chamber is sold. And so,
What do you think the reason for that was?
everyone kind of dropped out. Originally, years ago. They had a very active director that passed away. And so, I don't know, it's my intention to talk to Venus, she's the development director in a long time friend. We served together on one board for years. It was 2004 when the Kendall Chamber split off from the South Carolina. Here, and so, in my intention to talk to Venus, I've been on vacation since I learned to play bowling, so I haven't gotten to that yet. She's on my to-do list. Why? Politics are challenging. It was largely Forest Hill. When they pulled out, the chamber was largely just Forest Hill. Really smart. Definitely not everyone. My knowledge, I quit attending their meetings. Except for special invitation.
I have a question for you. Well, hello. All right. I have a question for you. What are like currently, I mean, y'all both work with the chamber, but what are like your short-term goals for the chamber? Like, if y'all had those discussions, like, what are you trying to accomplish more immediately for the city?
Well, primarily rebuilding, it's rebuilt. And I had a whole lot of blame on the pandemic. Certainly that really, we were rolling pretty good. So now it's rebuilding.
So,
But to really rebuild membership, rebuild membership and really improve benefits going forward. There's a vision and mission in writing that I can't recite to you. And, the website is under construction. It's really been just cleaned up a little bit. Totally rebuilt.
okay.
So,
All right. So rebuilding membership, improving the benefits, and part of that is rebuilding the website, maybe getting a director or a what do you call it? Marketing. Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then what steps or things are y'all doing currently? Like, what are you trying, what is your plan like to get there, I guess?
Well, again, just get that person place.
Yeah.
That place. One, existing membership, paying the membership, and work with new benefits. And we're always looking at what could we do to improve it? We do you as a business person, make things better. Besides marketing, it's also we're hoping to develop an adult education. We wouldn't necessarily have to even be a business person. It might be somebody that's interested in learning Microsoft Office or Excel or something like that, and so you can get involved in adult education.
That'd be neat. Cool.
Where you, I guess,
Yeah.
seeing some legs rolling up.
All right.
That's the main thing is, you know, what can we do to get businesses here more involved in this community? That's to me is the big thing. Chamber to me is connecting with the city, the school district, community, churches, whoever's part of this community. We want to be connected.
Thank you.
Daryl, do you know how many businesses are in the city?
At one point, we had a little over 200.
Okay, so 50, let's assume we have 50%. Somewhere in that range. And first of all, Joe, thanks for coming. I apologize, I didn't start with that because we're all volunteers here so thanks for coming. So a concern I have is to your point earlier was we're sending letters out. The chamber's sending letters out for membership or to renew a membership. If I'm a business owner, I'm going to look at it from my perspective as why would I renew it if the website's under construction? And so I'm going to give the chamber money, and I may or may not see anything on the website for X amount of months. We don't know. And so that's the one thing that maybe jumps out at me is, and obviously I want to support, let me first say, I want to support the chamber. So I want to figure out, is now the best time to send those letters out, or is it more important to possibly find that person, then send the letters out when the website's up and running? And I obviously open this for opinion, but if I'm a business owner and I know that the website's not working and you send me a letter.
Good question. I understand and appreciate the question. There is a website in place. It's working. It's just that we're going to make it go up.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I misunderstood that. Yeah.
How that question. But there's a website working and it's been greatly cleaned up in the next few weeks since we started this process. It's just not all that it's fixing.
Yeah.
It was real easy on the website to find, like when you were asking about benefits, I looked real quick. Real easy to find what benefits and the levels there. I don't know if they're current, but whatever's
good.
there, it was easy to find. So. Yeah.
Great.
Really been working on that. Other committee working on membership benefits. Committee working on the employee. In this restructuring process. Really try to get the wheels rolling, not just rolling, but let it come to speed.
Mm-hmm.
We have luncheons, guys. We have luncheons. But we're going to skip July. It's historically, same schedule. I think June, July, and August. This year we had a June meeting, and I was going to really feel that there was some fight. We got to visit both states. My daughter's Ranger. Sweet. She also went to the whole thing. So luncheons, I got a sidetrack for luncheons. We're skipping July with the luncheon. And we'd like to see the guys at the luncheon. Third Wednesday, right there on the third Wednesday, we always meet at Life Church. Great example of a great partner. So, like the senators, states in the near future, I'm sure we'll talk about it. I think maybe in September. I'm not sure. I think the Rotary Club is going to invest another protection. I think the Rotary Club is going to sponsor the August. what the only local service organization about, what the road comes up here. And, we want to check the lunch and look like. It's always a good lunch. We try to focus on kind of local restaurants and kind of members to service. It's always good. There'll be a couple of ribbon cuttings. Not this Friday, but next Friday. So we're ribbon cutting for one of the new members right now is the new bookstore right here. And then the Montessori School, which has headquarters, well, they have a building on Little Road next to the building in front of it. And then they bought the building, I think they bought the building around the corner. So those are gonna be next Friday, I think, at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. School, one of theirs, after school hours.
I have one more question. So the building here in the town square, the house there, obviously a big deal for the city, historical landmark. How often do you guys use that? Every day? So you have somebody there every single day?
She was there, well, I want to say every single day, most weekdays.
Sure, oh, of course, sure.
Also invite anybody else that's one of the benefits, remember, for any other entity in the city is we'll share that building. We need a meeting place. And it fits in our building. And that's one of the benefits that we offer. Like Kennedale Beautiful or we've had some meetings over there from the school. We've had some meetings over there from my business. Yeah, our schedule. Can't really do it. Really come over there.
Yeah. How many people fit in that conference room?
So comfortably, it's a nice big table, and I think 12, say 12, Daryl, probably 12, maybe 14. I think we have 12 chairs. Of course, there's rather than some more chairs. There's more room. Well, and also events like coffee chats, business after hours. Some kind of, we get some weird calls. See, you get called from that office.
Is there anything that we, like at the EDC board, that we can do to help support? And I mean, what would your vision of us supporting the chamber and what that would look like?
Well, I mean, the building belongs to you. So that's a tremendous support right there, just having that office. The challenge of the situation. The office, people that Regina You only hire one. This is a huge thing when you see out there. I think it's a big deal, you know, if you look at what Mansfield's chamber has been doing. Well, if you know how old downtown Mansfield was, they have a section, one of those buildings. That's the big east side of it. Like any little town you look at, town that has a presence. Mansfield. Everyone in Forest Hill are doing the balance. And again, I would say, you know, I would hope y'all would consider a partnership on that higher unit. I really feel like we could step it up from $50,000 employee to $100,000 employee. So I'm gonna be a little more attractive to that job. If we can possibly. People lobbying for that consideration. I think EDC has a lot more money than the chamber. We're pretty limited. Our fundraisers. Fundraisers. We're not making money. Well, play shoot.
So I've lived here since 2018. I have not seen one piece of information on the golf tournament or the clay shoot. So just an anecdotal comment. I don't have Facebook.
That's our newspaper is, to my knowledge, our newspaper is largely Facebook for its circulation. We'll call it circulation.
Yep. So just one comment. We gotta do a better job of getting that out. You know, I don't know what that looks like, but I would have done both. You know,
The school board. Number of years. It was an ongoing, you know, communication is a two-way street.
yeah, yeah.
So that's a big deal. To me, it's a big deal with connection. Get involved, you know, get involved. Because really business, they're not involved. They're not gonna. Get involved. I'm certainly wide open for ideas. Well, no, I don't have a solution. For one person at a time. Oh, inflation is wrong.
Correct.
Oh, really? Well,
I was asking Daryl, he said that we promote it with the city email too. I didn't, that's the one I look at for our city events, and I must have missed it or something, because I'd have been at both of those things. That's right up my alley. So.
Well, the two that he's talking about now, that it was just discussed on the date.
Oh,
So the 23 you'll start seeing coming out.
okay, perfect.
But on the previous ones, the city has marketed a lot of that on our social media and the city website, and obviously the chamber website as well.
Okay, great.
appreciate you.
I thank you, Jeff.
Joe, thank you for coming out. Let's see if we can do this again in a couple months. All right. Thank you very much. Go B, visitor and citizen forum. We do not have one. Items for individual consideration. Approval of the minutes from May 23rd, 2023 regular meeting. Is anybody seeing any changes or anything needs to be done? Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Well, I'm not
I'll motion to approve.
and then second, Tyson.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. And now what we've all been waiting for, financial reports from the EDC.
Thanks, sir.
I received a series of questions, so I'll start off with going down with some questions and then feel free to stop me. But in general, if I can't answer you today, I will let you know and I'll get the information. A lot of this I just don't know. But I've only met a couple of you, but I'm John Horton, I'm the finance director for the city. The numbers, the spreadsheets were presented to council previously. Questions were limited on this. Let me go through this list and we'll stand up to it. So the first question was the admin charges for the general fund. Explain how many people this covers and their job. Well, for fiscal year 22, the allocation was based on wage expense for a series of departments. So, and it was, the total was 15%. It varied based on the department. For the current fiscal year, that 23, the allocation was 15% of the total budgeted expenditure at that time. The supporting departments are the city manager, mayor and council, city secretary, human resources, finance, community development, and then we have another fund we will have a confident account called non-departmental. So it was 15% of the budgeted expenditure in those departments. So the pay doesn't actually cover the individual. The next question was concerning the outstanding amount of debt, security interest rate, and I provided a spreadsheet that was from the debt. Our debt model over that. And one thing I do want to point out, and this is on the other section as well, that we doesn't have its own investment policy. It's really a passenger on the city's financial aspect. So the EDC has a sliver of what the city has. No, I'm just going down your list. So we do have in the debt model, there is a more robust model, but I tried to get to the point as much as possible and only provide you guys with the chart of the outstanding debt. It has the principal and the coupon rate upon particular item. At this point, I'll stop because there may be some questions. Have any right now? After that city manager, mayor, final. Okay, we skipped a couple. So there's city manager, mayor and council. City secretary. Now it's fine. Community. And non-departmental. These are all from the general fund. So we were literally learning that. A lot of it's related items that aren't set, that we can't peg to an individual department. So these are all written on the general fund. These are all the different departments within the general fund.
The non-departments like insurance for, say, like the EDC properties,
Miscellaneous.
Yeah, I mean,
Any of the department. Each department, someone has miscellaneous, I just want to clarify. We just need time to do the department. Okay, in investments. The first off, the EDC doesn't have its own investment policy. I mentioned the passenger analogy that EDC is a passenger on the investment policy for the city. I have provided the city's investment policy in that packet. And annually, this has to be reviewed by council. That is coming up, which should happen in the next 6 to 8 weeks at a council meeting. The policy, as it is now, is more of an overriding guidance document. And then when it's presented to council for review, the detailed items can be added to it. That's what happened last July. So there's also minutes within that place behind the financial policy. They can go to the detail about single purchases for profit. The other question, while everyone's reading, there are a couple investment accounts that are in the EDC's financial package. The numbers that were provided specifically were in Fund 15, account 4401, and Fund 95, also 4401. Right now, we have an operating account again. When I say we, I'm referring to the city, not EDC, but there's all the cash is considered one pool of cash. We have the operating account Wells Fargo that's paying our bills for the city. The funds that we don't need immediately are in, and it's an investment pool with very low risk. It's the lowest risk, even a low risk pool within. You take the average balance each fund has in the overall cash. So we have all of the cash, city, EDC, street funds, all the different funds. Each fund has an average amount. If you want to think of shares, it's ownership in the total pool of cash. The interest that we earn in these pools is allocated based on that ownership. And the EDC gets their share. You'll see it on the general fund, gets one with the parks, each fund, even our court security fund, they all have investment income that's from these pools.
And these pools are the same pools that other municipalities use?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they are specific to Texas.
Yep.
We currently can't seek the New Mexico pool.
Oh, yeah.
Stuck in Texas. We have two Texas pools that are primary. The other one that we have right now is Texas Star. And we do have two bills for prospect.
And so the miscellaneous income, what exactly, do you know what that consists of? 154409.
It's not tied to the pool and it's income. It's going in there. It's like impact fees generally speaking, that goes into.
Okay, I guess that would explain the fluctuation then. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so it's inconsistent, whereas the pool for the time being is fairly consistent with miscellaneous. A lot of them aren't on the site. It's one time or very rarely seen items. So if it was going to be something more consistent, we would try to find a better account. I would use other than this.
I apologize. I'm sure I'm going to have questions, but there's too many numbers for me to go to, and I don't want to waste anyone's time. So I'll have questions, I'm sure, but we can do that offline.
Okay, yeah, the only thing I just want to caution with some of the questions is again, that the EDC is a passenger on the city's bus, so. It's one thing to keep in mind, some things the EDC can't control, it's just part of going along with the city. That's the only thing I caution. There will be some things that we really can't change, but I'm happy to provide information and send any questions you have after this, right? Or Daryl, either one. I think the last time. Absolutely. Anything else? I'll have a question, but it's not like that. Yeah, I'm happy to answer questions. Give me some time to get that. Yeah, I like to prepare and I just kind of show up and when first say thank you for doing all this. I love all this. Like you said, you're all very, well, I'm not volunteer. Everyone has stuff here. Everybody else is volunteer, so I do my best to make it to. Appreciate it, guys.
And you're more welcome if you have a question that in a sense you may believe I may not answer or be able to. You're more than welcome to send it to John. But if you, I just ask for anybody sending an email to anybody, any staff members to also CC me on it.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so you need to make a motion to approve our financial report.
I move that we approve our financial reports.
Do we have a second?
I second the move that we've agreed to the financial reports.
All in favor? All in favor? Unanimous. Daryl, do we need to have anything in the executive session at the present time? All right, do we have a motion for adjournment?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
And a second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Thank you very much for showing up. Very few people argue about not going home.
Always, if you have questions.